Welcome everyone to our No Fear Gardening live night of entertainment here at Epic Studios, streaming live to the world. Nothing has been produced in horticulture like this before. We think, don't we? You know. And this has been produced by the amazing media students from Norwich City College, aptly named Cactus Media. So, Cactus Media, you know, that's great, isn't it? You know, very on trend.
Oh, I can't stop smiling. I'm not sure if I can even speak, but I'm Michael Perry, and I'm also known as Mr. Plant Geek because I'm indeed crazy about plants. Since I was in my first nappy, I've been growing, visiting, and interacting with plants, and I'm lucky enough to travel the world doing that in my job.
Amazing. Not in your nappy though, right?
Well, I'm not going to answer that.
Oh, okay. So I'm Ellen Mary, founder of No Fear Gardening, and I'm a complete gardening addict. Ever since I pinched the peas from their pods at the end of our garden when I was teeny tiny.
You never stop stealing. Jeez. Anyway, tonight we're going to show a different side to plants and all things green. We've got lots coming up, including how to grow your own jungle in a small space. And there's even a little bit of herb magic.
Amazing. So please tweet along using the hashtag NoFearLive at any point throughout the show. Keep watching. We'll be streaming for about 20 minutes before we have a short break, and then we'll be back for the second half before finishing off the evening with a live band. Actually, 2 live bands.
Awesome. So first up, I'm going to be talking to about edible flowers with Alex from Nurtured in Norfolk, and you'll even get to try some of you guys in the audience here. So let's get ready to eat our greens, reds, yellows, and blues. How you doing, man? Good to see you, dude.
They're really good.
So, edible flowers are everywhere right now. I open Instagram and it's all I see, all these nice decorated cakes. And why is there suddenly a trend in them?
Yeah, they're just becoming really popular, mainly because of chefs using them in culinary. So in Michelin-starred restaurants, on plates. Give that visual appeal, that flavour, and yeah, just to make a really nice plate.
So Nurtured in Norfolk is near Dereham. How long have you been going now?
Yeah, so the company's been running for 8 years now. It's a family-run business. And yeah, it come about both my parents as chefs.
Yeah.
Saw a niche in the market to produce really exciting.
So you've helped the trend to become what it is today, perhaps?
Yeah, hopefully.
Awesome. Let's look at some of these flavours. We've got some greens as well as some different rainbow colours
a real
here.
Mixture here.
This one in the centre now, that's an orchid.
Yeah, this is
orchids
an
are edible?
Yeah, orchids are edible.
Wow.
Yeah.
That must be quite expensive though. How much is this one?
Yeah, these are our most expensive flower.
So these are going to be the ones used in the first-class cabins, right?
Yeah, so the Michelin-starred restaurants. Yeah.
Cordon bleu. Let me eat some.
What do you think?
It's kind of chewy, quite waxy.
Yeah.
Let me try another one. I'm not too convinced by that one. This is a marigold. Now, a lot of people won't realise that marigolds are edible, will they?
Yeah.
What sort of flavour am I getting here?
So you'll have like a tangerine flavour, zesty. Yeah.
It's pretty zesty, but very colourful as well.
Yeah, beautiful.
You could use those on cakes, maybe decorate the top of a cheesecake. That would look incredible, wouldn't it?
Definitely.
What about nutritional content? Am I getting any vitamins or minerals from edible flowers?
Yeah, some of these flowers are absolutely packed with antioxidants, vitamins and minerals. Yeah, and they've got some really good health benefits to them as well.
Okay, awesome. So we've got a few more here that you can see. So we've got cornflowers, violas, even, that's an abutilon in the centre, isn't it?
Yep.
Now, so another premium variety. So there is, how many different flowers do you do?
So we do over 50 different flowers now.
Wow.
50 different edible flowers, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'm going to try this one here. What is that one? Electric daisy, right?
Yeah, that's the buzz button. Yeah,
I'm going to try that one while you take these into the audience and see what people think of the flavours. So have a little taste, kind of try and be experimental, but remember, always follow the advice with edible flowers and don't use any that you're not sure are edible. Avoid poisoning yourself, please.
I want to give them a go first. So like a really crunchy cucumber. Nice acidity to them as well. I'll try some flowers. What about the snapdragon, Antarinum?
What do they think of the flavours?
Sharp.
Good flavour? Yeah.
That's quite a picture one, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, more for decoration on cakes.
Awesome. So you guys can pass by the Nurtured in Norfolk stand, which is here tonight, or go on the website and find out more about the edible flowers. I'm just digesting this electric daisy at the moment. I'm not sure what's going to happen to my mouth.
Food banks are needed now more than ever, with the increasing demand of donations for those who find themselves struggling financially to provide food for their family. We don't know how food banks are going to stop families and children going hungry this Christmas. Time at Christmas can create tension for some people, leading them to choosing between heating or eating, but also wanting to provide a special day for their loved ones. Between April 2015 and April 2016, Trussell Trust food banks provided more than 1.1 million three-day food parcels to people in crisis. Of these, more than 415,000 were for children. These figures are astonishing and need desperate attention. However, potential stigmas people using the food bank may be facing are creating misconceptions about its need in today's society. Do you think there's a stigma?
What do you mean by the food bank exactly?
It's nice having a food bank, I think.
I wouldn't know where to go if I had to in the first place. I wouldn't even know where to donate.
Sometimes, yes, there can be a bit of a social stigma, which sometimes puts people off who are very much in need.
If need must, you got to do it, haven't you?
I know there's loads of other people going through the same thing.
I think there is possibly a slight reluctance for people to admit early on that they need the food bank.
People almost look down upon for doing it, and they shouldn't be.
Knowing that offer's there, then I would happily use it.
If it's being given to you, then you take it and embrace it, I suppose.
I'm Laura Footer, and for this documentary I will be walking you through the process that your donations go through with the food bank and exploring the stigmas that those using the service face. We're here at the food bank warehouse, where donations are brought in from either donation centres or directly from members of the public.
After the products arrive, they are then weighed and sorted by date and category. Longer life products are packed into these crates, while shorter life products are stacked onto these shelves for immediate use. Food is then sorted into 3-day nutritional boxes, specifically for one person, 2 people, or a family consisting of 2 adults and 2 children. A typical food parcel includes cereal, soup, pasta sauce, rice, beans, tinned fruit and veg, tinned meat, tea, coffee and biscuits. The boxes are catered for those with dietary requirements, such as diabetes, allergies and halal. The boxes are also made up of products for those who don't have cooking requirements, such as an oven or hot water. Often these boxes include non-food items, such as toiletries, baby supplies, feminine products and also seasonal gifts such as advent calendars. Once the boxes are ready, they're then sent off to food distribution centres where they're given to people in need. Some centres offer free tea and coffee or even a meal for those collecting the packages. Here at Norwich Central Baptist Church, they act as a donation and distribution centre for all the food to be collected and sent to the warehouse, which is then brought back here after being sorted and prepared for the different clients. At this particular location, Rosemary is amongst the many volunteers who help out here at the church for the food bank. Just to start off, could you tell us a bit about what you do here?
I volunteer on a fortnightly basis, so I come along and help get all the get the tables ready, get the refreshments ready for the people who are going to come in, get the boxes of food ready and a notice out saying that the food bank's open. And then when people start coming for the food bank, everybody has a voucher, and as a volunteer you go and take the voucher, have a look at what they've got and see how they're going to carry it home, try and engage them in conversation if they seem as if they want to.
Do you think there's a stigma around using the food bank?
Yes, I think there certainly can be. There are certainly some who really are very awkward about it and feel that it reflects badly on them that they've had to come to a food bank, and you have to work quite hard sometimes to put people at ease.
Do you think there's anything that could be done to reduce that stigma and feeling within them that they've done something wrong by coming in?
I guess it's up to us as volunteers to help the individuals who turn up here to feel more comfortable, so that if they have to come again, they don't feel as awkward as they did the first time. It's not an individual's fault if they need to come to rely on food bank.
A man living on benefits whilst desperately looking for work was offered a job in Thetford. Living in Norwich at the time made it impossible for him to take it, as he wouldn't be able to afford the travel costs. He was told a travel grant would be made available, but it wasn't, and he was fired after being there only 2 days. A self-employed builder's wife left him and cleared him out financially. He was so distressed by this that he wasn't able to work, and as a self-employed person, lost many contacts. A lady suffering from cancer, living in a rural area, has to go to regular hospital appointments, but is too weak to walk to the bus stop, so gets a taxi, which is £30 a trip. This has led to large financial strain on her to keep on top of the bills. These are all people just like us. The only difference is these unfortunate events which were beyond their control. This gave them nowhere else to turn except the food bank. After hearing some of these clients' stories, I felt it would be best for us to talk to some of those who choose to give their time to these people through their volunteer work at the food bank warehouse and office. I'd like to discover why they choose to help out and what they think about the stigmas that might surround the clients they give their time for.
I volunteer because I feel very sad that there are people who now can't afford to feed their children. I cannot imagine going to the cupboard and seeing the cupboards bare, and so I feel I want to help.
I think the politics and world events over the last sort of year or so, Brexit and Trump, kind of made everybody feel a bit, it was making me feel very depressed. These are things that, you know, you only have one vote, you can't do anything about, so I thought I'd better go out and start making some good news myself, you know.
I saw the impact when I was younger, and pretty much the same, except, you know, as social security's become income support, you know, the new benefit that's coming in. So I know what it means to wait 6 weeks without any money.
I've seen the food being given out, and I know there's lots of problems in our society that people need to be looked after, because the society itself can't do it. We can do it, the people.
I do think there's a stigma, but I think recently in one of the soaps they did a storyline that one of the families went to the food bank, and I think that did an awful lot for families to realise that there is no stigma, and anyone who is desperate can get food.
I think it's inevitable because this is a culture of plenty, and you look round and everybody seems to be doing well. I think people feel a failure. I can really speak from my own experience actually. When I didn't have enough to eat, even when it was my parents and I was very tiny, I think you feel there's something wrong, you've done something wrong, you're a failure.
I think it's impossible for people to empathise unless they've kind of been fairly close to that situation.
We need a system where people can feel that they don't have to feel so ashamed really about what's happening, because it's what society does to people quite often. You know, everybody gets blamed and they say these people don't help themselves. Most people don't get much choice.
I think the British people are very open to charity and help. So I just pray, you know, I just say to people, just keep giving, you know, and keep loving.
I hope now you've gained more insight into the food bank and the journey your donations go on. Do you think the stigma surrounding food bank clients is fair?
John Crome was born in Norwich in 1768, the son of an innkeeper and journeyman weaver. Crome first learned about pigments, paint and basic techniques during his 7-year apprenticeship as a coach and sign painter. During the 1780s and 1790s, he was introduced to the eminent London-based portrait painters William Beechey and John Oppie, which fired Crome's serious pursuit of picture making. Crome was further encouraged by prosperous local art collectors and patrons, who owned works by 17th century Dutch old masters. Crome's opportunities to closely follow and study these pictures at first hand greatly influenced his ideas. The informal and realistic portrayal of the flatlands of Holland with their natural lighting and weather effects especially inspired Crome to capture the ordinary everyday scenes near his Norfolk doorstep with new atmospheric intensity. Crome's painting of this typical Norfolk country lane guides the viewer's eye around its various areas using paint texture, light and shade, colour and blocks of compositional masses to guide the eye, rather like a series of individual cameos or verses in a poem. Crome was a regular visitor to Great Yarmouth when he was drawing master to the Dawson Turner family there. The dark tonality of the sky and choppy sea creates an atmospheric mood under which the narrative of the fisherman on the jetty is secondary. He also utilised the bare weave of the canvas under the oil paint for a patterned textured effect. Married in 1792, at the age of 23, Crome's main employment was as drawing master to local wealthy families such as the Gurneys of Earlham Hall and Dawson Turners of Great Yarmouth. He was appointed drawing master at Norwich Grammar School and also provided lessons from his home at 17 Gildengate Street, right up until his death in 1821. He took on apprentices, notably the artists James Stark and George Vincent, and supplemented his income through picture restoration and developing his connoisseurship through picture dealing. In 1803, John Crome founded the Norwich Society of Artists in collaboration with his friend and brother-in-law Robert Ladbroke. This was the very first association of British artists outside London that regularly held meetings for the purpose of discussing art and would later organise regular exhibitions. It spawned a local artistic movement of landscape painting which became known as the Norwich School. The title tells us that he is deliberately attempting to record an exact location and time of day. This was unusual for Crome, who normally had a less defined objective. The result of this precision is a highly worked picture with lovely paint textures and accurate observations. The 3 landscape oil paintings by John Crome from the Norwich Castle Museum and Art Gallery collection featured in this film were some of the very best examples of his large finished pictures. Crome's unconventional lighting and textural effects were considered groundbreaking in their day. In 2021, it will be the bicentenary of John Crome's death. He was buried in St George's Church, Colgate in Norwich. As evidence of Crome's high standing within the community, a marble memorial plaque was also mounted in the church 47 years later to commemorate the centenary of his birth in 1868. To raise awareness of Chrome's unique artistic legacy, in 2018, the East Anglian Traditional Arts Centre will be launching the Chrome Prize, an annual award over 3 years for new and outstanding research relating to John Crome and artists of Norwich School.
Yourself, you're starting to the blues better.
Yeah, I think I can have a shave soon.
Hey Jess. So, final session, guys. Shall we get started?
Joel.
Good to have you back, Rosemary.
Firstly, I'd like to apologise to Harvey. Seeing you so upset made me afraid to show my own emotions. It's just not the way I was brought up.
Would you like to give us your background?
Yes. Well, I first met Harold, my husband, at the Norfolk and Norwich. He was a doctor and I was a nurse on his ward. Our son, John, arrived quite quickly, and after Harold died of lung cancer, John and I became very close. And after he died, I'm sorry. When I lost John, I lost more than just a son. It broke me. I couldn't cope, so I moved next door to my daughter-in-law. I thought it would be good to be nearer the children, but actually I wanted them to be near me.
Would you like a glass of water, Rosemary?
Please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are you okay to continue?
Yes, I think so. A couple of days ago, I was looking through John's things and I came across this greetings card, and it had a picture of a monkey on the front and it said, "Hang loose." It must have been for when I had the flu just before John died, and there was a note clipped to it. It was in Julia, my daughter-in-law's, handwriting, and it said, "Do you think your mother will be all right with this?" And he put, "It's my mother. Of course she won't be all right with it." Have you ever seen my mother hang loose?
I'm sure he didn't mean it.
Just I didn't want people to really see me like that. Especially not John. And something just clicked, and I realised that the way that I was trying to cope, it just wasn't working. There was so much tension.
And I think you're very brave for coming back, Rosemary. I know how a relationship can get messed up.
Thank you, Harvey. And Rosemary, shall we take our break now?
Well, you look better.
Well, it's down to the voicemail. Do you want to come with me to lay some flowers on Lily's memorial bench? Her mum and dad had one put in at the University Lake, but I've never been.
Yeah, sure.
I've also got this big bag of clothes for the charity shop if...
I'm really glad Rosemary's been willing to share with us today. And actually, I'd like to share a story of my own. Why I became a psychotherapist. I used to be a teacher. Back then, my partner, Adam, was having a really tough time. Adam had a twin sister. They were really close. When she suddenly passed away from a brain tumour, he really struggled to cope. Me, well, I just couldn't do anything to help him. I felt so useless. The relationship ended, and I felt like such a failure that I couldn't do anything. And that was the motivation to become a psychotherapist, and why I'm here today. You know, when you love someone, it doesn't always follow that you can help them. And when someone dies, those people around you can't always make it better, however much they might want to. But that doesn't mean that they stopped caring. Right, moving on. I just want to thank you all for coming these last 6 sessions. I hope, if nothing else, it's helped you to want to ask for help if you feel you need it. I've got some leaflets for you all, for a bit more guidance, but you know what? There's no rules to this. There's no right way or wrong way. You just have to find your own way. I just hope these sessions have helped you to begin that journey.
Thanks, John.
Yes.
The Mischief Tavern is an historic pub in Norwich, a former merchant's house dating from the 16th century. It is now very popular within the Norwich community, especially the younger generation. Over the years, the Mischief has continually changed. In the 60s, it was the venue of a jazz/folk club called the Jacquard Club, and Paul Simon once performed there. Now the pub is a popular and lively venue with the student demographic, and those aged 18 to 30 being regular customers. The Jacquard Club was an underground jazz, folk and blues club based on Magdalen Street, Norwich. Tony Cooper and his brother Albert opened the club in the Mischief in the mid-1960s. Some visiting artists included Paul Simon, Ewan MacColl and Peggy Seeger. I spoke to Tony Cooper to find out more about the club.
Well, at the time I was running Studio 4 Jazz Club in Norwich, quite a successful jazz club behind Anglia Television, and the folk craze was coming along, and my brother was a folk and blues singer, and blood is thicker than water, so I came to help to found the Jacquard Club. Jimmy, forget his surname, he was the banjoist with Albert, and he said, what about the Mischief Tavern? They got a little back room. He came up with the name Jacquard. Jacquard is a loom, a weaving loom invented by Jean-Marie Jacquard from Normandy. So the Jacquard was born out of the history and interest of the weaving industry in the city, and all the area around the Mischief Tavern area was all the weaving area of Norwich. One of the few pubs with a room where the landlord was keen on it. You know, we had a good landlord, Les Izzard, bit of an old sot, you know, he drank a lot, you know, and his wife ran the bar, but they welcomed us. Then we had Bill Clifton, American guy who was a regular here. There's a nice story when Albert was in America with Bill. He said, oh, I just got Johnny Cash on the phone. He wants us to go and have dinner with him sometime this week, but a long way away, it's about 150 miles away, so he said, I think that's too far. I think Albert regretted not trying to push him in to go and have dinner with Johnny Cash and his wife June Carter. Well, that's half and half, but the Mischief were really good days. They were pioneering days, I suppose. Nobody had seen these artists in Norwich before. These American country artists, these banjo pickers, you know, Bill Monroe, the Seegers, they'd never been, most probably never been to England before. Yes, Paul Simon was a sensitive, thoughtful, but I think when you read his lyrics and hear his songs, that thoughtfulness comes out. And he's a lovely person. We had a couple of pints of Guinness here. There was a seat just for two people in like a little annex or whatever. And he liked Guinness, and everybody was wanting him to go on again, shouting for him to go on. I said, oh, will you do any more? He said, no, the set is the set, you know. But, you know, even when he was in the bar, they were still shouting for more. So he was a big hit. But I expected him to be. And we were going to have him at a concert in early October. Albert's group, the Jacquards, and Diz Disley, who was a famous jazz banjo player and guitarist, were opening the show. And Paul Simon was the guest. Paul Simon turned up late. Peter Walsh was the promoter. When Paul Simon turned up late, Peter Walsh said, you're not to go on, you're too late, you miss your slot. I pleaded with Peter Walsh. I said, yeah, Paul Simon is so important to this gig, let him go on. And he wouldn't. And he said to Paul Simon, look, if you can't turn up on time for a gig, you're never going to do much in this business. What a line, you know? He wasn't allowed to sing, so I felt very uncomfortable. And I went over with Paul and Adge to the festival house, now St Andrew's Tavern, right next to St Andrew's Hall. Had another pint of Guinness. He did like Guinness, and so did I. And then he was coming back to the Mischief Tavern later in that month. He cancelled because of illness, but I always suspect he cancelled because the unwelcome he got from Peter Walsh. And then the rest is history. I think in '66 he was at the Royal Albert Hall, and he was every major hall in the world.
The Silver Social is all about getting people out and involved in arts activities.
Hello, Margaret. Thanks for
The idea behind it is that they're getting out and about, they're meeting new people, but they're also getting to take part in an activity that's really good for their well-being.
I feel I've enjoyed most people getting together and letting things out a bit, you know, and relaxing. And yeah, in general, I feel more relaxed now than I did when I came in.
Silver Social is such a great idea in terms of helping a community maybe come together in different ways, because I think what you often find in all places is that there are clubs that people join, and then it becomes very hard for people to break out of their particular club. And I think something like Silver Social, by choosing different venues and by having visiting artists, it sort of attracts people in a different way. So even just in the sessions I've done, I've found that there's quite a diversity of people who come who don't know each other, and it's just been really wonderful to watch them connect. You know, that's been a really exciting part of the project for me, is I feel when I leave that those connections are going to carry on, and people are going to support each other.
Harvey.
Yes, my dear.
How are you today?
Not too bad.
You can go to some kind of workshops whereby it's very, very formal, and this is very informal, and it's nice, it's inclusive, you know.
Don't be afraid to take part in what's going on. It's not demanding, it's not judgmental. You don't get tested on it, there are no exams, it's just to do it for fun. The feeling is that singing is good for well-being, and a relaxed atmosphere that you find at these workshops certainly proves that point.
Sitting in the front row, Barbara, there you are, with Harvey next door to you. It's great that you all came, not knowing what you were gonna be in for. Oh yes. Bonnie there with her purple scarf and penny.
One Life Left, located on Norwich's St Benedict Street, is the one-stop shop for gaming, food and drink, esports and events. We provide all manner of consoles and games, from the Sega Mega Drive to the PS4. We have everything you need to hang out with your friends in a friendly and inclusive environment. One Life Left offers both walk-in screen hire as well as the opportunity to hire the location for parties or private events. We also offer our own public events such as Fight Night or Kids Night. One Life Left is a fun and friendly environment to play and hang out. Whether you prefer Sony or Microsoft, Nintendo or Sega, we'll have the game for you.